And that kind of pulls me to sort of first aspect of it, man. One of the things that I've always gave you praise again about is just your conviction around financial literacy, right? I started this conversation last time by saying that before financial literacy was even popular, you were in that. I remember early on, you and I got together, and this was years. I can't remember what year it was, but I think it might have been the first year, maybe the second year that you just moved back to the Hampton Roads area from the DC area. And you knew then already what your roadmap was, and everything was around financial literacy, and specifically for the Black community, or maybe I would say the underserved community.
Mhm.
And so, was entrepreneurship and financial literacy something that you did growing up? Like, was that a household topic, or like, where's the bridge between that?
Yeah, so nah, not at all. I think the first time that I realized that I kind of knew what I wanted to do, I was in the crib talking to my mom, and she said something about like, maybe I said like, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing this accounting thing," because I took an accounting course in high school, and I was like, this seems all right. I did some research. They said it was a steady field, good job security. I mentioned it to my mother, and she said, "My accountant makes more than me," and I was like, "Oh, we live in a pretty good life."
That's all
So
we need.
that's a fact. That's where I'm gonna go with it. So I went to college, got an accounting degree, started working in corporate America. But then I think like a lot of people, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. And to me, I think for a lot of people, Rich
Yeah.
Dad Poor Dad is a personal finance book. To me, it's an accounting book. All the illustrations in Rich Dad Poor Dad are simple assets minus liabilities equals owner's equity or personal equity, however you want to put it. So I read that book and I realized, oh, accounting is my superpower, right? Because I went to school and I learned how to be an accountant for big corporations, but I didn't learn how to be an accountant for myself. So after I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, the light bulb went off, and I realized that my superpower in business and personal finance and investing in this world was me being an accountant, and I understood how the numbers went. So I think after that day, I was like, all right, boom, I know what I want to do.
Nah, I respect that, man. I don't have a particular book. I did read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I feel like everyone that gets introduced to investing kind of goes through that. It's almost
Yeah.
like the gate before you actually get into that. But I think one of the things that really introduced me to being at least having a better interest in finance was real estate. It wasn't a particular book though, but it was just like just reading different articles, looking at the 1%, seeing what they're doing. And as I started to really deep dive, I noticed that everyone had real estate in portfolio. And I was like,
Yeah.
there's a reason for this. So that's what really struck me. And I was like, yo, I got to tap into this a little bit more. But you branched also from financial literacy and you've morphed into this serial entrepreneur. So was entrepreneurship anything that your parents talked about? And the reason I asked that because I feel as though this generation, we understand that we can't work for someone else for a living, right?
Mhm.
That transaction of let me work these amount of hours for an exchange, I get this check. And it was
Mhm.
funny, man, because I, grew up in an African household. We didn't talk about these things growing up. We didn't talk about finances. We didn't talk about We didn't talk about sex in the household. Like we didn't talk about things that you want to encourage people to talk about at an early age, man. But we didn't talk about any of those things. We didn't talk about
Yeah.
entrepreneurship. So it gives me great pleasure, B, whenever like my parents are calling and saying, "Hey, I saw what you did when I was doing real estate. I saw what you did here. That's really good. Walk me through that process." Or my
Yeah.
older brother giving me praise, saying, "Yo, P, I see what you're doing. It motivates me." Like
Mhm.
that right there is all the ammunition I need. That's
Yeah.
the air in my wings. Like, yo, that's what I need to do. Me for to be that living example for my children, my family, really. So I wonder, like, for you, or are you that person maybe that's kind of pushing the throttle a little bit forward, or did you see that growing up?
No, I think I'm definitely the person that's pushing the throttle. I think my parents put us in a good position to be in a suburban household. I come from two military parents, retired out of Hampton, Virginia. So I think, was never struggling or anything like that. But as far as like, you know, tapping into generational wealth and real money, because I think me and my friends growing up, all we knew was like rapper money. And I wanted to be a rapper until like in a couple of years before I graduated high school graduated college because that's really all I knew. Like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get this rap money, I'm gonna be rich. But then once I got into the world of investing and entrepreneurship, and I saw, oh, there's a different way to be rich, and it's not as hard as people make it seem. So that's when I started, boom, I started chasing that.
Yeah,